Hey parents, hi, this is Friday, February 4th. Everybody is home today on another day off due to snow. So I made my way into the school. I wanted to give you a little bit of a winter tour so you could see what all's been going on in the class when we've been here. It's been a little bit of an up and down 2 months with being in school and out of school, but we've been doing a lot of really fun things with space especially. So I just wanted to give you a quick tour and update you on a few things. So first, out in our hallway, we have our display of solar flares. So this was a project we did back when we were learning about the sun, where the students used plastic wrap and finger paint underneath and squished all of that fun paint underneath, and then used Q-tips or their fingers to make the solar flares, the eruptions that happen on the edges of the sun. And there they are, beautiful. They've been out here in our hall on display. All of these items, space items, will be coming home at the end of next week. So here they all are. They turned out really, really nicely. There they are. And then around our corner, so really quickly, we're still trying to finish up letter E. It's been now over a week and a half, but of course with 2 days off this week, we didn't get to finish Miss E, but we will be wrapping her up on Monday, and we'll be starting the letter Y. So I have them both out here today for Monday. We'll be finishing up E and starting Y. And then up over here, these were made a while back. These are our snowmen that are looking up, watching the snow fall. Not everybody had an opportunity to do one. This is when we still had some people out sick. So these will be coming home if your child was here to do one. They're super cute. And then behind me on our line, we have had our name rockets hanging up. This year we did first and last names, and I have to say the kids did a fantastic job. And so as you can see, they were writing their letters with a capital at the beginning and small after that. We call that the K way, because we are learning how to write our names the kindergarten way. That's what the K stands for. And now that we are doing this over and over and over again, they are really getting the hang of the capital letter at the front and the small letters after. And so they did a really nice job getting their first and last names on these rockets. So they put the squares on first. We counted the number of letters in their names. They put the squares on and then wrote their names on top of the squares once they were pasted on there. So here you can see everybody had a chance to do this even if they were absent. This is one of the projects that we had everybody do when they came back if they had been out sick or not able to be here because of the weather. So there we go, there they are. All right, so those are our name rockets out here in the hall. All right, so let me take you inside here. We'll start on this end, update you on a few things. All right, all things space. Hopefully you've been hearing a lot about space. So let's head over there right now. There's our block corner. It looks a little funny with that big black tent in there, but that is space. And so what the children can do is right now we have 2 people that can go into space at one time. Here's the flashlights. And so when you come in here, you get a badge. Here's our badges. We have our letter friends, SPAC, and the extra E, holding on to that. They put a badge on here. There's 2 people allowed at one time. They are welcome to get a flashlight if they want one. They don't have to. They can turn that on and then climb on into space. Now, all of the stars and rocket ships that you see hanging up in here were all done by the kids. And so we learned a lot about stars and about the temperature of stars and the color of stars. And then we made a lot of these, and there are glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. The first week we had space. We had some observation journals and books that the kids could come in here and write in. This week we've had blocks in space. This has been very popular, and the kids have made a lot of really fun, neat structures as they've been inside here. So as you can see, this is super fun. I'm gonna get down low so you can see when you're in here, it looks just like space. And then you can take your flashlight and search for those stars, rocket ships, and planets. So we'll have this up for 1 more week. We might get the light table in here and we will see. Okay, all right. out here. Let me turn the flashlight off. This is our Lego space table. So we have space Legos out here. This has also been very, very popular. There's lots of fun spaceships being built in space centers and space vehicles, all kinds of fun things with our little astronauts there in our Lego table. Let me put my flashlight back. Then in our kitchen area has been our space station. So here you can see this is where the kids put their clip up when they want to come in. And there are several places they can play. Here's our little control center with a space observation notebook. Then we have a little command center with a keyboard and a launch checklist. So this is where they can check off the list if they're ready to launch. And then we have another control panel over here, temperature gauges, countdown to the launch. We have our globe of the Earth, so we can locate where we are on the Earth. And we have our star chart, so we remember what the temperature of stars are. Opposite of what we normally thought, bluest stars are the hottest ones, which is funny, we said, because blue normally reminds us of things that are cold, but those are our hottest stars. So those are the 5 color stars in our solar system. And so we've been talking about that, and also talking about the size of stars, showing the difference between different sizes with these different balls. Okay. This is our magnifying glass. So that goes with our moon rock observation kit. Here's our moon rocks in the box here. So the children can take those out. They can observe them under the magnifying glass. Then they can do a little moon rock research, which is weighing them, measuring them, and drawing them. And so here's some of the tools, and there's a scale over here. So they can put the rocks in one side, and then they can use the cubes to see how many cubes does the rock weigh, and they can put it on their chart. Here we have some jet packs that were made this week. Mrs. McAdams put together a couple of jet packs so the kids can put these on their back and wear them around as jet packs if they want to be astronauts. And we have a research book about space. We have some space food, some long food. We have some round food and some food in cans, because as we know in space, the food doesn't look like the food that we eat here. And we have a telescope, and we have 2 jackets here that have NASA on them. So if you want to be doing your space research, you can put your NASA jacket on before you do that. So that is our space station. And then speaking of space, these are the books we've been creating. So there are a lot of pages to this book. We're a little over halfway through now. So when we started with constellations. So each day we learn about whatever the topic is for that day, whatever the planet is, or whatever the space object is. And we read a book. Sometimes we watch a video. Sometimes we do both. So we did constellations first. Then we learned all about the sun, which is when we did the solar flares. Then we learned about the moon, and we have another fun moon project that's going to be coming up before we're done. And what you can see is everything that we learn about is what they include, and each of these pages focuses on a fine motor skill. So for example, for tissue, they had to pick up and glue the tissue and try to keep it inside the circle, right? For the moon and for Mercury and for Venus, they had to trace and cut out the circle for the planet and glue it on, and then draw the things that we learned about the moon. So we learned that the moon has craters. We learned that there are footprints on the moon. And of course, we learned that there's a flag on the moon as well, and they were allowed to draw a rocket ship. Mercury, same thing, we traced it. And Mercury has one really large crater on it. So there you can see it, and other small craters. And then when we talk about the stars, we're only drawing stars that are the actual color of stars in our solar system. So we know there's red, blue, yellow, orange, and of course white, which don't necessarily show up. We put silver ones on in place of those. Here, Venus, same thing, Venus. We knew Venus had volcanoes and craters, and it's covered in a blanket of clouds. And so we added these clouds on here to represent that blanket. You can see that dotted line. Earth, here's our planet. This one was quite challenging. We have switched over to our smaller, skinnier markers, and this was the first project we did with those smaller, skinnier markers, and I have to say the kids did an amazing job staying in the lines and coloring carefully for the Earth. And of course we have one moon, there it is, and our stars. Then we learned about Mars. We learned that Mars has 2 polar ice caps, It has the largest volcano in the solar system and a really, really large canyon on it. It has 2 small moons. They're shaped like potatoes. Children love that. That's how they remember, Phobos and Deimos. So here's the 2 moons. And then Wednesday's planet. This was our most challenging planet because it's the largest one to color. We learned about Jupiter, the first of our gas giants, and that Jupiter, it has swirling layers of gas on it and a giant red spot, which is a big storm system. Now, we also learned that it has 79 moons, which we said were way too many to draw, but there are 4 main moons around Jupiter. So there's that. So this coming week we'll be doing asteroids, because there's an asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. And then, of course, the remaining planets, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and we will talk about Pluto being a dwarf planet. So that's the book. When all this is done, this will all go in together in a book and come home to you. So do know that we're working hard on that, and you'll be seeing that final project soon. Okay, here we have all of our planets up for the children to be able to see each day. They're there. And then, of course, our busy area, our math, our puzzles, our games. We are just about finished sorting our crayons to give away to No Crayon Left Behind. In this area, math and puzzles, we have all space-related themes. We have space puzzles. We're diving into a lot of counting and number recognition. So we have number puzzles in here. We have 10 graphs, and we also have opposites, because we were learning about opposites with Mr. O. And then here, this is our letter of the week poster. The children come over here. They look at what our letter is. This week it's going to be Y, and they go through. They can do this with a friend, and they circle all the Y's that they can find on Miss Y's chart. That's very popular. All right, then our writing center, of course, is still open. We have space-themed things in our writing center right now, space words that the children can practice writing. We have some space tracing activities, lots of paper, lots of space paper if they want to draw pictures. This is a very popular spot during the day. And as you can see up here, we have some very fun space pictures and projects that have come out of that writing center. Okay. All right, next, I've laid out a few things we're talking about. We're focusing on our math centers at the end of our day after our lunchtime, asteroids. Oh, here's what we're going to be doing on Monday for our space book. And then the kids are going to be in the afternoons working in pairs, normally in math centers. And here's some of the things we're working on. Patterning, of course. We're still working on that from the beginning of the year. That's an important concept all the way through. So here they're just finishing the pattern, finding the next ones in the pattern like this, and laying them out. And then here, they're doing this with a partner. They're building a rocket. So they find the 2 numbers that go together, 6 and 6, and each person builds their own rocket of 6. And you can make a pattern. So here, person 1 made a pattern, and person 2, then you put them together to make the rocket. And then you pick the next 2. Let's say you want to do 4. The other person finds the bottom, and then you do rockets made out of 4. Okay. Here, this is a mixed up number puzzle. So they have to get the astronaut put back together, astronauts, and they have to get them in the right order, 1 through 10. I also have an 11 through 20. And this is a memory game. Of course, these would all be upside down, but the kids are trying to find the matches as they turn them over and remember where they are. So that's some of the things we'll be doing in our math centers. Okay, onward. And this game as well. This is a fun counting game. 4 people can play. They're rolling and counting and moving their little zoo creatures throughout the zoo. So over here we have our magnet center. This is up all the time. This helps with capital and lowercase recognition of letters. So this week it's space themed. And so the children are finding the capital and small letter that matches each letter of the alphabet. This is our puzzle center. As you can see, we have 1 in progress. So we have left the pieces here. This is one of our more challenging space puzzles because it's a spaceship that's actually shaped like that. It's not square. So you can see we've made a little progress here, and we built this small one back here. This one has also been very popular. This one has been built several times this past week of our solar system. So if they're in progress, we leave them here so that everybody can come back and work on them. So, Okay, this past week, as we said, we were talking about the letter E. So here was our list of words that start with E. We have quite a nice list going on there. We do this every week now with a letter of the week, all the words we can think of. And then this was the me bag this week of all the items that Miss E brought. And then this was Connor. He was our classmate me bag person of the week. So there's his items from the things that he brought and presented to the class. So here, that is always out every week, the me bags from our letter person and the me bag from our person of the week. Our space books and some Valentine things are out. This is number of the day. We just started this past week. The kids have their own number of the day workbook, and we are working on how many ways we can make or draw the number of the day. Of course, we started with 1, and so this box on the left is tally marks. How do we make 1 with tally marks? And then what number comes before or after your number? So 0 comes before, 2 comes after. There's a whole bunch of hands on their paper, so you're coloring only 1 finger for 1. And then you're drawing that many objects. So we drew 1 circle, and then we're writing it O-N-E. So all the different ways that we can identify the number of the day. So, okay, really quickly, you can see we're set up for next week. We've got circle time all set. Hopefully we'll have everybody back and feeling healthy. We'll have a birthday to celebrate on Monday. That'll be Brooks. We'll be happy to have him back and celebrate his birthday. We're still counting days in school. We've lost a few days with days off, so we're getting close to our 100th day of school. I've told the children we're going to have a little celebration on that day. Here's our letter. We're going to get ready for Miss Y. And then our composer we learned about last week was Frédéric Chopin. We listened to his music. We're changing to our artist of the month will be Matisse this month. And this has been very popular this week. We've been talking about self-control this month and ways that we show self-control. So we'll be doing the pictures in our Fruit of the Spirit books. And we've met these little friends. You might have heard about them. These are our little emotion friends. We met them when we first met Scribble Spot. There he is. He's all tangled with all the different emotions. And we learned about him and how he got to separate all of emotions and what all those emotions are. So here they are. This is happiness is yellow, sadness is blue, peace is green, anxious is gray, pink is love, red is anger, and orange is confidence. And we've been learning a lot about these different feelings and what they mean and when we have them, and that it's okay to have all of them, and the kids are really, really enjoying it. Now, each of these little friends has their own separate book when you learn about that specific emotion and what we can do to manage it if it's an emotion that needs to be managed, or what we can do to have more of it, for example, happiness or peace. So it's been super fun. I'll send home some pictures and the name of the author if you're interested in that book. Highly recommend it, and of course the little characters are super fun. So all right, so it's E and Y. I think that's it. Parents, thank you so much for your patience these past couple weeks with in school, out of school, and snow days and back and forth. Pajama day on Monday, so make sure your children have their jammies and a stuffed friend, and they can bring their slippers, and we will look forward to seeing you on Monday. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe and warm. Have a wonderful weekend.